This project I created using the Aribo kit, which was designed by Dr. Matthew Gardiner. And for my project, I wanted to create a sculpture using 2 paper hands that I created. And essentially, one of the hands holds the flower and it runs to the microcontroller, which is held in the palm of the other hand. And I moved the photocell off of the microcontroller onto the tip of the finger to make it more of an interactive experience for the viewer. So if you were to go ahead and touch the tip of the finger, it would trigger the opening and closing motion of the flower itself. So what I was trying to get across with this project was this idea of nature being in some sort of future more technological and robotic. And I thought that would just be an interesting idea to explore, and in terms of that, kind of put that into a physical realization so you could actually think about that and see what that could possibly look like.
Hi, I'm Jack Jones, and this is my final capstone project for AD 417. It's comprised of 2 iRobot Create kits, and they actually interact with each other and kind of talk to each other to create a synchronization, and then they perform a little melody. They perform the Comet Observatory theme from Super Mario Galaxy. Along with performing the song through the built-in speakers, they actually do a kind of waltz-like dance, and they interact and turn with each other, and they do a lot of fun stuff, and I had a lot of fun working with them. In the project statement, I actually classify 2 dancers, 1 programmer, 1 choreographer, 1 director, 1 composer. So I had a lot of fun kind of taking on a lot of different roles that I wouldn't actually do for a lot of my other classes. And yeah, a really good intro to kind of creative art in robotics, and I had a great time.
Hello, my name is Eunice Song, and this is my Oribo Kit project called The Fear. So for this project, I really focused on trying to get a project that interacts with the user that comes to this. So I created this. These are the flowers, and then this is a base that's paper mache with newspaper. I wanted to go along with the paper theme. And then also these rocks, it just represents like a home or like the environment for these flowers. So this is like an open vase cut in half that you can see through. So for this, as you can see right now, it's in its relaxed state where it's just kind of like breathing. And another aspect that I wanted to incorporate in this project is to give these flowers that are really inanimate because it's like a robotic flower. And I wanted to give it the characteristic of a live being based on its movements. So that's where I focused on the coding. So right now, if it's in its relaxed state, if the user approaches the flowers, or if like the surrounding gets dark, it begins to move quicker, so it shows like a gasping motion or like a frantic motion, which gives a characteristic of it having fear, hence the project name.
The electric plant project is an experiment in the transformation of natural light into synthetic. A series of electroluminescent paintings supported by a rolling frame express life through the consumption, storage, and usage of light by way of a solar panel. Much like a living creature, each painting is unique and dependent on the sun to live. But like all living things, if they live, they die. The chemicals responsible for the glow degrade with more use. With this knowledge, it is up to the viewer to choose what to do. Will one allow the electric houseplant to live, leaving it on and moving it into the light when it dims, knowing it will one day die forever? Will they express cruelty by keeping it out of the light, allowing it to slowly fade into the darkness? Or will they reject its life outright and treat it as a lamp, turning it on and off as desired and recharging as needed? These paintings are a simulation of life. They must consume to survive, and as they live, they must one day die, never to light again.
This is a crawler that I like to call it. I got inspired from different animals, such as a worm or a snail as well, but snail-wise, the shape looks a little more like snail, I would say, on the backside. At least the cables make it appear so. And then the hard thing was that to make this move forward with only pull and push power, and using the friction and gravity as my allies instead of my enemies in that case, to make it a little bit more easier. But then you could see the front as well. It's opening and closing. And then the back system, I dedicated 2 motors on that. And then they move like this to create a longer movement span. And then it moves ever so slightly. Thank you.
So this is my piece. It's kind of like a sculptural form to surround the flowers. My idea that kind of grew into this was expanding upon like the DIY aspects of the Oribo kit. So the cardboard that makes up the base comes from the packaging of the original kit. So I did that using double layers on each plane, and then I sliced them and slotted them together to create this kind of skeleton form that also houses the PCB of the kit. Other than that, I was trying to really speak like the material language of the kit while keeping like the whites and the cardboard tones that are present on the flowers, and I feel like using that paired with all of the zip ties that were standard with the kit really helped me do that and kind of complete the form. In terms of like an audience viewing, I'd imagine there'd be kind of bright lights that cast in different directions onto the form to reveal the shadows, and then how the shadows also play with the sensor and have the flowers react would kind of be a dramatic emotional response that this piece holds. So yeah.
ArcBot is an experiment in human projection as a medium for robotic behavioral development. The robot moves in an endearing fashion, leading viewers to naturally form a bond with it, despite the threat of a 30,000 plus volt shock. A personality can be projected onto the robot, the nature of which is in large part more the influence of the projector than the projectee. The robot was built using a method I call mechatronic sculpting, in which, rather than following a pre-designed plan, the robot is made piece by hand from the ground up, much like a sculpture. The resulting robot is more unique in both its physical form factor, as well as mechanical behavior. Couple this with a healthy dose of spaghetti code, and the resultant robot already has a baseline personality for the mind to build from. It also likes to do this from time to time.